Hello! In this Coolgrad video, we're going to talk about studying in the state of Nebraska in the United States. Nebraska is a nice little state in the central part of the United States, and it has a couple of really good universities. We're going to talk about the weather conditions, the cost of living, and all the interesting places to visit in Nebraska, and the universities and the programs, and the rankings of the universities and stuff like that. So let's look at the state of Nebraska. So Nebraska is the 16th largest state in the United States. It's located right here in the central part of the United States. So as you can see, it's like right in the middle, and it crosses two time zones actually. So if you're flying in from California, I'm guessing it would take about 3 hours to get there, and from New York, by flight it would take about like 3 hours to get there. And it has a couple of international airports too. And what are the states neighboring Nebraska? So Nebraska is bordered by South Dakota in the north, and Wyoming and Colorado on the west. So and in the south we have Kansas, and on the east we have Missouri. MO stands for Missouri over here, and Iowa and Minnesota up there. So it is, the capital over here is the city of Lincoln. So this is a state map of Nebraska. So these are all the important cities. We have Omaha here, Lincoln, they're only separated by about like maybe 50 miles. And these are the places where there are two of the major universities in Nebraska. There's the University of Nebraska at Lincoln and the University of Nebraska at Omaha. So, and there are also a couple of other cities like Grand Island and McCook and Hastings and Beatrice and Columbus. Remember, there's a Columbus in Ohio and a Columbus in Nebraska, so they're different cities. So there's Scottsbluff over here, and there are a few rivers, the North Platte River and the South Platte River, and which combine to become the Platte River, and the North Loop. So there's a Niobrara River. So this is the city, the state of Nebraska. And mostly when they think about Nebraska, they think about two big cities, Lincoln and Omaha. So Nebraska lies in the, part of Nebraska on the right lies in the central time zone, and the western part lies in the mountain time zone. So it has two different time zones. That means at some point in the year, this part of Nebraska will be like 1 hour ahead of the other part. So that which is in the central time zone will be having, for example, 9 a.m. and what is mountain time zone will be having like 10 a.m. So they might be 1 hour apart. And I actually knew somebody, one of my relatives, who lived in some place, not necessarily in Nebraska, in a city which was bordering two time zones. So it was like really confusing for them. So imagine a person living here, so if they had to travel over to the other side, it's like, if the schools close at 4 p.m. over here, it's still 3 p.m. on the other side. So it so happened that the mother was a doctor, and she would go to work on the other side, and she would finish her work by like about, say, 4 p.m. in Central Time, which was 3 p.m. Mountain Time. So she would come back, and then after 1 hour she had to pick up her kid from school, at 4 p.m. And sometimes it's like, vice versa. Sometimes the parents are working here and they finish work early, and the kids go to school in the other part where it gets over later, and it leads to all kinds of confusions. Sometimes there's a grocery store they visit here, and if it's like 9 p.m. here, they have to remember it's going to be only 8 p.m. there, and vice versa. And sometimes they think it'll be open and it'll be closed, and all kinds of confusions. So anyway, so all I'm trying to say is there are two different time zones in Nebraska. So Nebraska is nicknamed the Cornhusker State because there are a lot of cornfields in Nebraska, and a lot of farmers and farms, and they grow a lot of corn, and it's also known for some kind of like beef and pork products. So most of the land is dry, arid, sandy, and It's may not be very well suited for a lot of other kind of vegetation, but it's very well suited for corn and potatoes and that kind of stuff. So some quick facts about Nebraska. The area of Nebraska is about 77,358 square miles, or about 200,000 square kilometers. The population is about 1.8 million as of the year 2016, and the nickname is Cornhusker State due to large corn fields. The 16th largest state in the United States. Nebraska was the 37th state to accede to the United States. Capital is Lincoln, named after late President Abraham Lincoln. And the largest city in Nebraska is Omaha, which is on the Missouri River. So these are some quick facts about Nebraska. And some more interesting facts. Nebraska was once called the Great American Desert. And Nebraska has more underground water reserves than any other state in the US. Nebraska has more miles of river than any other state too. The origin of Nebraska's name, from an Auto-Indian word, okay, from words named Nebraska, means flat water. That became Nebraska in English. Kearney, Nebraska is located exactly in between Boston and San Francisco. So there's Boston on the upper right and San Francisco, and Kearney is like right in the middle. The 911 system of emergency communications. In America, any problem, the first thing they do is call 911. And they teach all the kids, like, if somebody attacks you, your father beats you, mama beats you, call 911. So, for everything they call 911. They can't do without 911. And 911 for emergency was first, it's now used all over America, and it was developed first and used in Lincoln, Nebraska. Nebraska is a very large producer of beef, pork, corn, and soybeans. Berkshire Hathaway Company is located in Omaha. So we know Warren Buffett, the world-famous investor, who is associated with Berkshire Hathaway. The company is headquartered in Omaha, in Nebraska. Kawasaki Motors manufacturing plant is also employed in Lincoln, Nebraska, employs more than 1,200 people, and is one of the major job providers in Nebraska. The weather in Nebraska. Average summer temperature, daytime is, average in summer is 87 Fahrenheit, night average is 63 Fahrenheit. Average winter temperature, daytime average is 30 Fahrenheit and nighttime average is 13 Fahrenheit. Hot summers and generally cold winters. Eastern part is more humid than western Nebraska. So, snowfall across the state is fairly even. Nebraska gets 2 to 3 feet of snow annually. So there is a lot of snowfall in the winters and it's pretty cold. And you'd have to buy gloves and boots and, all kinds of warm clothing. Nebraska gets violent thunderstorms and tornadoes. And then it has treeless prairies, which are ideal for cattle grazing. The grasslands are highly suitable for cattle grazing. Top cities in Nebraska. Omaha, Lincoln, Grand Island, Kearney, Hastings, Columbus, Nebraska City. So let's take a look at Lincoln, some quick facts. Size of the city is about 91.77 square miles or 237 square kilometers. Population around 280,000 in the year 2016, approximately. Lincoln is the capital of Nebraska and the second most populous city in Nebraska. Located in the southeastern part of Nebraska, in the Lincoln metropolitan area. Lincoln is known for its friendliness, safe neighborhoods, central location, cultural diversity, and reasonable cost of living. So Nebraska is really less expensive compared to New York, Boston, or California. The real estate is pretty cheap, and like a nice 4-bedroom house may cost only between $130,000 to about $300,000, depending on whether it's like a gated community or the surroundings and the school districts and stuff. So let's say you get a 4-bed, 4-bath house for approximately say $200,000 or $250,000. The same house in California would cost, like in the Bay Area, would be more than about $1.2 million, and in San Francisco it would cost about maybe $3 million minimum, and the same in New York. So this kind of a 4-bed, 4-bath house in Atlanta, for example, would cost around $250,000 to $300,000 again, or maybe if it's a gated community, maybe $400,000. So different cities have a different cost of living. So again, Seattle in Washington is again very expensive. So Texas is again relatively cheaper. I mean, depending on which area, you can get maybe a 4-bed 4-bath house for about $250,000 to $300,000. So Nebraska is like really cheap when it comes to the real estate and cost of living. Healthcare costs are among the lowest in the nation. Lincoln combines small town charm with big city culture to create an incredibly inviting and enjoyable atmosphere. So it's kind of a nice place to live. I mean, if you like snow, but if you don't like snow, and if you get like sad season sickness in the winters, then it's probably not a good place for you. Omaha. So Omaha is about 338 square kilometers size, and population was around 400,000 as of year 2016. Omaha, located in the eastern Nebraska on the west bank of the Missouri River, is the largest city in the state of Nebraska. It has a diverse economy that has retained its core agricultural products, but expanded to include banking, insurance, telecommunications, and other high technology industries. So there are a lot of jobs available in Omaha, like in banks, insurance companies, telecommunications, so many industries, and also a lot of IT companies. So the corporations headquartered in Omaha include Ameritrade, Berkshire Hathaway, Conagra Foods, Mutual of Omaha, Union Pacific Railroad, Citadel Corporation, and West Teleservices. So there's the nearby Offutt Air Force Base, home of the U.S. Strategic Command. It's a major employer. So a lot of students who graduate from the University of Nebraska at Omaha or Lincoln, they get employed by some of these companies. And there's also like big four companies like Deloitte, IBM. They sometimes visit the campuses for recruitment. I mean, job prospects in Nebraska are certainly not as great as in like the Silicon Valley, California, or in New York. But there are like a lot of companies there, and some people do prefer to work there after graduation. So what are the airports in Nebraska? Omaha, OMA, is the 3-letter code, bigger than Lincoln Airport, and it's only 50 miles away. So sometimes if you're flying from India, you might want to think about like, instead of flying to Lincoln, if you fly to Omaha and then get a ride from there or take a bus, it might work out to be a couple of $100 cheaper. When you're a grad student, you're worried about every single dollar, right? So you might want to think about that. It also applies to other cities, like in California, Bay Area. If you're flying to like San Jose, the airport is not so big, the international airport. But the San Francisco airport handles much more traffic and has many more flights in and out of it. So if you fly to San Francisco and then take a shuttle or a bus to San Jose, it probably will save you a couple of $100. So you might want to use that trick when you're booking your flights. So Lincoln, LNK, offers convenient daily connections to Chicago, Denver, and the Twin Cities, in Minnesota, Minneapolis and St. Paul, via Delta and United Airlines. And I'm sure there are a lot of other airlines too, which operate from Lincoln Airport in Nebraska. So Grand Island, GRI, that's another airport. Scottsbluff, BFF. Alliance, AIA. Kearney, EAR. North Platte, LBF. These are smaller airports, mostly like sometimes for domestic or even like maybe like a military base. But the international airports are pretty much those, I guess. McCook, Chadron, Sioux City, Iowa. So in the neighboring state of Iowa, there's also this airport SUX, from which you can travel to Nebraska by a cab or a train or a bus. So these are the airports in Nebraska. Top universities in Nebraska: University of Nebraska-Lincoln and the University of Nebraska at Omaha. And these two universities work in collaboration, especially in the med school, and they offer a lot of programs in collaboration too. Tier 2 universities in Nebraska: University of Nebraska at Kearney, Nebraska Wesleyan University at Lincoln, Creighton University Omaha, Bellevue University Bellevue, Midland University Fremont. So the University of Nebraska at Lincoln. So this is like the campus picture of University of Nebraska Lincoln, and it's kind of nice and green, and you see a really beautiful campus. And the University of Nebraska Lincoln, often referred to as Nebraska, instead of calling it the University of Nebraska at Lincoln, they usually call it just Nebraska University, and then UNL or NU, it all means the same university. is a public research university located in Lincoln, Nebraska, United States. It's the state's oldest and largest university and the flagship university of the University of Nebraska system. So in the University of Nebraska, we have at least 3 different universities. There's University of Nebraska at Lincoln, University of Nebraska at Omaha, University of Nebraska at Kearney. There are so many different universities under this university system. So remember, there are state universities, there's the University of Nebraska, there's different universities. And mainly, these are the popular universities. The university was chartered by the legislature in 1869, so it's like a really old university and has evolved over years, over decades, over centuries. 2 years after Nebraska's statehood into ascension to statehood in the United States. So in 1867, Nebraska became a part of the United States as a state, and 2 years later, 1869, they founded the University of Nebraska at Lincoln. It has about 19,000 undergrads and about 4,600 graduate students enrolled in various programs as of the year 2016. So let's look at the rankings of the various departments of the University of Nebraska at Lincoln. So the business school, it's ranked like lower than 100, top 100 in the United States. And MIS, the rank is again, lower than 100. Electrical engineering is again lower than 100, but computer science is ranked top 75 in the United States. And I actually know some of my friends who went to the University of Nebraska at Lincoln and also Omaha for masters in computer science and also like masters in mechanical engineering. And it was at least less expensive, and they got a decent quality education at a very low price. And then they were able to get some jobs like in Chicago and also in Nebraska or Detroit. So I do know people who were not exceptionally brilliant, but with like an average undergraduate GPA in engineering colleges in India and with like an average GRE score, they were able to get in here, and they're doing fairly well now. So the civil engineering department is ranked 62, top 62 in the United States. Mechanical engineering is less than 100. Chemical engineering less than 100. The law school is ranked 57 in US. Medical school, it collaborates with the University of Nebraska at Omaha. It's not like a separate entity. There's one medical school, and the University of Nebraska at Lincoln collaborates with Omaha, and it's ranked top 63 in the United States. So University of Nebraska Lincoln, the business school. So this is a picture of the business school. It's ranked lower than 100, but it's not necessarily a really bad business school. But it does have a significant number of students who graduate there, mostly localites, and they graduate from this business school. And this university has produced a lot of famous alumni too. So that's the business school, and the University of Nebraska Lincoln IT department. So they have this Peter Kiewit Institute, which houses a lot of engineering departments, including including the information science department. So this institute is about 192,000 square feet in area. It's a pretty big institute, and it was located off of 72nd and Pacific Streets in Omaha, in the city of Omaha. It's home to the University of Nebraska Lincoln College of Engineering and the University of Nebraska Omaha College of Information Science and Technology. It is one of the most innovative engineering and IT facilities in the nation. University of Nebraska Lincoln IT Department. The building includes the Charles Durham School of Architectural Engineering and Construction and is a living learning laboratory. Specialized labs allow students to learn about lighting, heating and cooling, computer-aided manufacturing, imaging, animation, robotics, and other fields of study. So, this is related to IT and computer science and also mostly mechanical engineering and also manufacturing. And academic programs offered in Omaha by the University of Nebraska Lincoln College of Engineering include architectural engineering, civil engineering, computer and electronics engineering, construction engineering, and construction management. So University of Nebraska Lincoln Computer Science Department. So this is what the building looks like, where they have the computer science department. So the Jeffrey S. Haight School of Computer Science, ranked 75 in US, is a gift from Carol and Ed McVaney in honor of her mother. So Esther Kaufman. This beautiful building lets students live and learn in an environment that supports their vibrant academic community. So this is where the computer science students would be studying. So if you're applying to the University of Nebraska Lincoln Computer Science Department, this is what the building looks like, and it looks like a beautiful campus with a lot of huge laboratories and classrooms and facilities and lounges for grad students to discuss and stuff. So University of Nebraska Lincoln Electrical Engineering Department. So Scott Engineering Center houses the Electrical Engineering Department, ranked lower than 100. So this is what the electrical department looks like. And University of Nebraska Lincoln Civil Engineering Department. So I think civil engineering is ranked reasonably high. It may not be lower than 100. I'm sorry if it's a mistake here. But this is where the civil engineering department looks like. And I've seen a lot of my friends and some of my neighbors, they did go to the University of Nebraska for Lincoln and also Nebraska Omaha for civil engineering, and they're actually doing quite well after that. They managed to join some construction companies, and they're doing quite well. So this is the University of Nebraska Lincoln, the law school, which is ranked about like top 57 in the United States. This is the law school building, and they offer a JD program and also some LLM courses. So if you're already a lawyer in India and you want to do, just get acquainted with the law system in the United States, then they have like 1 year, 2 year programs. But the 4-year Juris Doctor JD program is also available in this building. University of Nebraska Lincoln Medical School. University of Nebraska Lincoln offered programs at its campus from other University of Nebraska institutions, including the University of Nebraska at Omaha. University of Nebraska Medical Center colleges of dentistry and nursing and the Peter Kiewit Institute are managed in partnership with the University of Nebraska at Omaha. So the medical school is operated in collaboration with the University of Nebraska at Omaha. Cost of living in Lincoln. Cost of living average. So Lincoln is not an expensive place to live in, and it's not very expensive as of year 2016. The monthly rent for a 1-bed 1-bath apartment in Lincoln, close to the University of Nebraska Lincoln, will be $550 to $650. 2-bed 2-bath apartment, monthly rent will be $750 to $900. Monthly rent for a 900 square feet furnished studio will be $700 to $800. So if you're a grad student, you might want to watch my video about housing and roommates, and if you can afford to have a studio by yourself, it might be good for you. You won't have to put up with stupid roommates. And if you can have a 2-bed 2-bath apartment, so you can have a room and bathroom for yourself, it's still okay. You pay about half of this. Let's say the rent is about $900, so you pay $450 per head. But if you're living by yourself, you'll have to pay at least $700 to $750 by yourself. So when you're a grad student, every dollar is precious, so you might want to think about your options. But always try to have at least a room and a bathroom for yourself without having to share with anyone. Places to visit in Lincoln, Nebraska. So there's Sunken Gardens, Nebraska State Capitol, Museum of American Speed, Antelope Park, Wilderness Park, Pioneer Park and Nature Center, and over 131 miles of bike trails. So it's known for its wonderful biking trails, and you can bike in the wilderness. It's really nice. Indian restaurants in Lincoln. The Oven is one, and then Tandoor Indian cuisine, Taj Mahal cuisine of India. So there's the Oven over here, the Tandoor Indian cuisine here, there's another Oven here, and then there's Bhupi Curry, Taj Mahal. There are a few Indian restaurants in Lincoln. So if you're craving for like Indian food, you can always get it there. And I'm sure there are a lot of Indian grocery stores too. You can buy and cook by yourself. Famous alumni of Nebraska Lincoln. Warren Buffett, CEO of Berkshire Hathaway, one of the world's most famous investors. I mean, his books, his strategies are legendary. George Beadle, Nobel Prize in Medicine, 1958. So Donald Cram, Nobel Prize in Chemistry, 1987. Alan Heeger, Nobel Prize in Chemistry, 2000. So the university has produced quite a few Nobel laureates. And let's now take a look at the University of Nebraska, Omaha. So this is what the University of Nebraska, Omaha campus looks like. This is some of the prominent buildings here. So this is the Maverick Monument. So the bull you see there, that's it's an 8-foot high bronze bull statue. And It's called the Maverick Monument. It was a gift from the Alumni Association on their 100th anniversary. So these universities are pretty old. And it stands in front of the Health, Physical Education and Recreation Building, HPER building, that's what it's called. This statue doesn't represent the university's mascot. It symbolizes the determination, pride, and success of the students, graduates, and the community. So it's their mascot, the Maverick. And they say once a Maverick, always a Maverick. So that's their mascot, the University of Nebraska at Omaha. So the history of this university. The University of Nebraska Omaha, often referred to as Omaha or UNO, is a public research university located in Omaha, Nebraska. Founded in 1908 by faculty from the Omaha Presbyterian Theological Seminary, it was a private, non-sectarian college. The university was originally known as the University of Omaha. Then it became part of the University of Nebraska system, University of Nebraska Omaha. The university became a public municipal institution in 1930 and was relocated to its current location in central Omaha in 1938. It was integrated into the University of Nebraska system in 1968. University of Nebraska Omaha offers over 200 programs and expects to enroll over 20,000 students by the year 2020. So these are the department rankings of the University of Nebraska at Omaha. So the business school is ranked lower than 100. MIS is actually very popular. It's ranked 27 in the United States. And I've had friends who went to the University of Nebraska at Omaha and they got partial scholarship, some got full scholarship for MIS program, and they graduated and they got into like big four companies like Deloitte. They're actually doing very well. And MIS is a very popular program. And if you haven't watched my video about what an MIS program is all about, I highly encourage you to watch it. Electrical engineering is ranked lower than 100. Computer science lower than 100. Mechanical engineering lower than 100. Civil engineering is ranked actually 62 in the United States. So it's actually quite popular. Chemical engineering lower than 100. Law school lower than 100. Medical school is ranked top 63 in the country. University of Nebraska Omaha, the computer science department. So this is what the computer science department looks like. It's an elegant building. And it's ranked lower than 100, but it's still a popular destination for students, mainly because of the low cost of tuition and the low cost of living. Omaha, there's the Othmer Hall. So Donald Othmer Hall, or OTHMs, so it is located at 17th and Vine Streets, houses the Department of Chemical and Biomolecular Engineering, the Engineering Communications, Business and Finance, and the Dean's Office Suite, including Associate Deans, Student Program Services, and Research. So all these different departments are located in the Donald Othmer Hall. The 4-story brick and limestone building, which opened in 2002, features the latest in research laboratory design, including a bioprocess manufacturing facility, state-of-the-art computer control system for laboratories, and next-generation distant education technology. Chemical engineering. So it's located, this is the chemical engineering building, and it's located, this whole thing is the Donald Othmer Hall, and the chemical engineering building is located in this building. And University of Nebraska Omaha Mechanical Engineering. So it's located in Nebraska Hall. So this building is called the Nebraska Hall, and it's ranked lower than 100 in the United States. The Omaha Medical School, ranked 63 in the US. So this is what the med school looks like. Collaborates with University of Nebraska Lincoln to offer quality programs. It has quite a low acceptance rate, 9.1% acceptance rate. So for every 100 applications, only about 9 of them get accepted. So that's very competitive. And it costs around $70,000 per annum to study medicine here. Cost of living in Omaha. Cost of living is average, not very expensive. Monthly rent in Omaha as of year 2016. 1-bed, 1-bath apartment costs about $550 to $650. 2-bed, 2-bath apartment costs $750 to $900 per month. And 900 square feet furnished studio would cost about $700 to $800. So the top companies in Omaha include Berkshire Hathaway, Kibid, Mutual of Omaha, Union Pacific. These are headquartered in Omaha, and there are also a lot of companies there which are not headquartered but have offices there. Places to visit in Omaha. Henry Dorley Zoo and Aquarium, Strategic Air and Space Museum. That's an interesting place to visit. And the Jocelyn Art Museum, Lawrence Botanical Gardens, Heartland of America Park, so that's like an amusement park which is very popular, kind of like Six Flags, I guess. Jean Leahy Mall, so that's a mall. Fontenelle Park is full of sculptures. Peony Park is an amusement park. And it's got a few interesting things, places to visit. I also had friends who went to University of Nebraska at Omaha and Lincoln, and they would take bus trips to other places like Idaho, and they would go looking at all these cornfields and all this stuff, and they had a lot of interesting rustic, scenic places to visit over there, a lot of trails and stuff. Indian restaurants in Omaha, there's Mother India, Flavors, Curry Express. So Mother India, there's Flavors, Curry Express, these are all the Indian restaurants. There's at least a few of them. So that brings us to the end of this PowerPoint about studying in Nebraska. So I guess you got an idea of the weather, the cost of living, the airports, the top cities, the top universities, and their rankings. And you'll have to, of course, dig and do further research before applying to one of them. But I hope you got an overview of what it's like to study in Nebraska. Thank you.